Communicating as a Leader with Megan Fettes. On WEDO Pay It Forward. Now let's get to it. Welcome. I'm Milena Radakovic, and this is WEDO Pay It Forward. I'm so excited to have my new guest, Megan Fettes of Untamed Academy. Welcome, Megan. We're so excited to have you here.
Thanks,
Tell us
Milena.
a little bit about your business.
Yeah, I'm a speaking coach, and so I support entrepreneurs, business owners, and even organizations actually know how to communicate in an effective way. Because the reality is that we're all experts in what it is that we do, whether it's an organizational aspect or business. We are the leaders in what it is that we focus on. And so how do we effectively communicate in a way that has people buying into what it is that we're looking to share?
I love that. And you know what, as an entrepreneur and having staff, sometimes I have to take a back and think about, did that come out right? Did I say that right? Because it didn't sound quite what I wanted to portray. So why don't you give us some tips, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs in the audience, and as a business owner, you're speaking to your staff as well as your clients all the time. What sort of do's and don'ts? I know there's probably tons, but just little tidbits that you could offer us.
Yeah, so the biggest one, and we talk about it all the time, is know who it is that you're speaking to, right? So it's for entrepreneurs, it's know who your audience is. Where are they and what is it that they need to hear? But also, what is the end goal that you have in mind? What is the intention of the conversation, the communication, the talk that you're providing that's going to move them in the direction that they need to go? As a leader within corporations, same kind of thing applies. Who is it that you're speaking to?
Right.
What is the intention behind it? And what do you need to share with them in order to create the clarity and the awareness that they need in order to feel like they've got the autonomy to make the decision and say yes?
Right. Have you ever come into a situation where, some people don't like change, right? And sometimes as a leader, you are trying to get other people to change with you, and that's a really hard sell sometimes. And I always say, someone told me, you got to tell them what's in it for them. But how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so again, that's kind of the foundation, is you need to know what's important to them, what they want, nobody cares really what they need. You have to give them what they need in order to get them to where they want to be.
Right.
But really, what is the problem that they want to have solved? And even in corporations, we often think, as entrepreneurs, if you're speaking to your audience, if you're working to create that attraction, then that's easy to think about. But we forget as organizations and corporations that we have to do that with our employees. Right. We have to have that same mentality of how is this going to affect them? How is this going to support them? How is this going to change something that they feel uncomfortable with or a pain point with?
Right.
And when we can do that, then it's a lot easier to understand, this is how I need to say it, this is what I need to say, and begin to steer that conversation in the appropriate way. And kind of going off of that, another big tool to know is that there's 4 different personality types that we're speaking to all the time.
Interesting.
Yes, lots of people just think, if I communicate this way, then they're going to understand it, they're going to appreciate it because this is how I value communication. But that's often not the fact.
Okay.
So there's the relationship person, right? Those are the people that love to have the small talk. They love to know what's going on in your life. They really want to know who you are and what you're all about. And they will do anything and everything to build that relationship. There is the information people, right? They want information, they want stats, they want quotes, they want things that are going to support the information that you're sharing so that it actually makes sense to their minds. There is the process person. They want to know that there's steps to follow. There's a system that's going to get them from point A to point B. And then there's the action people. Those are the people that don't care how they get there. They just want to get there, and they wanted to get there yesterday. And so when we're communicating as leaders, really helping ourselves to understand who we're communicating with is in those 4 categories.
Right.
So we need to adjust our communication to include as much of that for all personality types so that it is easier for them to value what it is that we're saying.
Wow, those are really good tips. I've never thought of it. Now when I've gotta bring something up, I've got to make sure that I'm addressing the needs of every single personality. Because because when I think back of where I am, I'm like, I just want to get there, right?
Totally.
And so this is a really good perspective. Thank you so much. Now, tell me, you've been in business for a very long time. Tell us what has been some of the successes, like some tips that you can offer as a speaking coach for if somebody else is wanting to go in and start their own consulting firm. Is that, would I say that's what it'd be like?
Yeah, totally.
So what has made you successful that other people can take the tips from?
I would say the biggest thing is relationships. That has been the biggest aspect of my success, is finding the communities that you resonate with and that resonate with you, and then showing up and fully supporting one another. I often say it takes a village to raise a business, right? Because we hear that all the time, well, it takes a village to raise a child, but when does that actually stop? And why as entrepreneurs do we feel like we need to do it alone? And so the more that we can come into that awareness of let's build relationships, let's build a community of support, and let's support each other, build and connect to the right people, then it becomes a lot easier and it becomes a lot more fun.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing in business we need more of.
I love that. Now, depending on what industry you're in, what's the best way to build relationships or find those key people? Like, how did you find the ways that you could build out and build those relationships?
A lot of it was really and truly, this might sound generic, but focusing on people that, I really aligned with their messages. I aligned with the way that they did business, and then thought about how can I support them? And that really was the mindset that I would go into it with, is how can I support them? It wasn't about me and my business, because at the time I didn't really realize what I was doing, but it really was that serving first. How can I serve and support first? And then naturally the rest comes. And I think that reciprocity, right? When people don't feel like you're just naturally coming to ask something of them right away, which we often do in like networking or collaborative spaces. We just show up and it's like, hey, what can I do? How can I serve you? Then people are like, wow, how can I give back to you too? And it just becomes a natural ebb and flow, give and receive relationship.
One of the things that I love doing is I love connecting. I'm a connector. And so what you're saying, I'm like, so that's my way in a sense of building relationships, is when I meet somebody and I'm like, I kind of go through my Rolodex. It's like, how can I help them out? Who can I connect them with? So and I've never thought of it that way. So that's a really good tip. I like that.
Yeah, and it makes it fun. Like again, I think everything should be fun, because we're gonna engage more energy into something that we enjoy doing. And that's one of my favorite things, right? We meet people and it's like, wow, yes, this is amazing. I love what it is that you do in business. You need to know so-and-so. How can I connect you to? And that connection is huge. Because you never know what one connection could do for somebody in their business. I know I've had one connection that changed everything for me in business. And so why not provide that for other people too?
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's such a great tip. Now, you're also a busy mom, and with your business, you're also traveling quite a bit. And there's entrepreneurs out there who are looking to start their own consulting firm, and they're thinking like, well, I'm gonna have to do some travels. Tell us about how do you plan it out that you can juggle and do everything at once?
Yeah, and I'll be 100% honest. There's days where I completely fail at it, and I kind of have to step up and brush myself off and move back into it in a more calm state. But I think the biggest thing again would be that who do you have surrounding you, right? And so we're very lucky. My husband and I, we both grew up just south of Calgary, so all of our family is nearby. So I have access to all of my family, and they're very helpful and supportive. But I've also had friends who have said, you know what, you got to do this. Like, I know that you need to do this, you want to do this, how can I help you? Can I make meals for your family while you're away? Can I help your husband take the kids to hockey while you're away? And so I think that balance of having that support and being able to ask for it, right, is important. Because we can do it all, but we need support to be able to make that happen.
Exactly, and you don't want to burn out as well. So it's okay. That's the one thing I always tell entrepreneurs. It's okay to ask for help. You don't have to do it on your own. You have your own strengths, but then you also have the weaknesses, and somebody else has the strengths to help those weaknesses.
I love that. Because it is so true, right? Like we were never, I remember when I first got into business and everyone would be like, figure out what your weaknesses are and then figure out how to strengthen them. And that seemed like such a waste of time because like, why not focus on what we're strong in and surround ourselves with the people that are strong in our areas of weakness and collaborate.
Yep, I agree that. One of the best books I read was called The Strength Finder. And yeah, it's a fantastic book, and it talks about how you don't have to ponder on your weaknesses. Look at your strength and build on the strength. That's okay. So yeah.
That's brilliant.
Oh, Megan, it's been a pleasure. Just so the audience also knows, Megan is part of the WEDO Canada family. Megan has been our speaker lead for WEDO Calgary now for a few years. So you could see her at November 19th at the WEDO Calgary Summit at the Carriage House. So check out wedocanada.ca and get your ticket because it's going to be a fabulous full-day event of workshop and speakers, so don't miss out. Thank you, Megan, for being here. How can the audience get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best way would actually be through my website. So www.untamed-academy.com.
Wonderful. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, audience, for being here, and stay tuned for more. If you were inspired and want to join the WEDO community, then go to wedocanada.com and sponsor and nominate the next inspiring woman entrepreneur.